Welcome to the Fitness and Finance Podcast with Jeff Smith from the Retirement Smith and Jennifer Scherer from Fredericksburg Fitness Studio. True wealth isn't just about finances. It's about maintaining a healthy body and a secure financial future. The Fitness and Finance Podcast is here to help you build strength in both areas, tackling financial strategies for retirement while also discussing ways to stay active, healthy, and energized. Now let's get started with Fitness and Finance.
Hook.
All right. What did you say? Book, hook, look?
No, I was like, Jen, send us that opening hook.
Yeah.
What are we talking about today?
Oh, yeah. Well,
That's
today
awesome.
we are talking about expectations.
Ooh.
And
Yeah.
we're talking about those ones that are too big, way too fast, and completely disconnected from reality.
Mm.
And then the ones that are so small that they'll keep you stuck exactly where you are.
Yeah. So I thought great expectations, the danger
Yes.
of expecting too much or too little. Great title. Once again, thank you,
Yeah.
Jennifer.
Of course.
Yeah.
And guys, great topic. And Jeff, you threw a lot out there before the show when we were talking about what this is going to be about.
Yeah.
And I got excited about the topic. But first, before we get into our great expectations, and basically talking about what are realistic expectations and why that's important.
Yeah.
Speaking of great expectations, the U.S. hockey team,
Gosh,
men's and women's, won gold.
Oh,
I watched the full men's game, and I will say my wife and I watched it together in our living room, glued to the screens the whole time. I've been to a lot of pro hockey games. You have as well, Jeff. I know. Jennifer, have you been to a pro hockey game?
Yeah.
A couple. Yeah.
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 And my wife looked at me and said, "Now we've been to Minnesota Wild games and pro hockey games. They don't skate this fast or just maintain this level of energy, do they? Or am I misremembering?" And I go, "Absolutely not. I mean, that game was moving at 100 miles an hour from start to finish."
Well, I'll tell you that Canadian team is the best team ever assembled in history. It is the greatest hockey team that anybody's ever put on an ice. For any country ever. That is the most superstars in one location.
Well, they had 41, 49 shots on goal against us compared to like our 9 or I mean, it was ridiculous.
I mean, before we get into the men's, let's talk about the women's hockey team. I mean, what an amazing show. They didn't give up. They gave up like 1 goal in 7 games and won by 5 basically every game until they ran into Canada. And, the Canadian women, they're supposed to win every year.
Yep.
Canadian men are supposed to win every year.
Yep.
And we just showed up and
I think the women's team is the best team ever put on ice. The U.S. women's.
Yeah.
And I think that U.S. Canada or the Canadian men's team is the best team ever assembled, and the U.S. women's team. But even though that Canadian men's team was the best ever assembled, our goalie and our toughness to tough it out and to be physical and to be able to maintain the speed the entire game.
Yeah.
I don't think they were ready for that.
No,
level we brought
a bunch, we took a bunch of punches and, I mean, that our goalie has won the Vezina a couple of times for the best goaltender in the NHL. So he's no stranger to big games. And honestly, Bennington in the net for Canada, he's awesome. He's amazing goaltender too. Not the best year in the NHL, but he's such a gamer. Yeah. And he showed up. So it's just a slugfest, which was fantastic to watch. But we're sitting on the plane coming back from California, and I'm literally glued to my iPad watching this thing. And when they scored the overtime goal, I'm like jumping up in my seat. I was going crazy.
Yeah, he couldn't not yell out.
There was a couple.
Were you on an airplane when
on an airplane? And then there was some other people that did the same thing, but it wasn't like the whole plane erupted. But there were pockets of us that were just pretty excited about it. And
that's neat.
I'll just tell you, I thought it was the coolest thing. Two things that kind of stuck out to me was the after party with Cash Patel. He's in the
Crazy Eyes Patel was there.
I was so it was exciting to me to see somebody so high up in the government just be a fan, just to
He was,
be part
so
of
excited.
oh my
Yes.
gosh, that was really cool. I mean, I know he got
And
a
how
lot of,
can you not be energetic and patriotic?
oh my
The
gosh,
U.S. team, and I think it's great that somebody from our government was actually there. That's
same.
neat.
I thought it was
Yeah.
so cool. And then what an honor for them to go to, the State of the Union,
Yes.
and where they
Very cool.
very much deserved a standing ovation. And well, most of the people stood, we know the ones that didn't, but you know, whatever. It's not a political thing to have a victory
Yeah.
over,
Most stood, even on both sides, when that for the hockey team.
yeah.
But not everybody, unfortunately, and that's crazy. I mean, it's crazy not how could you not root for the US men's hockey team?
Gosh, I
Or
guess
be happy about them winning and them being invited to the State of the Union. And, didn't they give the goalie didn't
yes.
Trump give the goalie the Medal of
Presidential Medal of
Freedom?
Freedom. Yeah,
That's awesome.
highest honor for a US citizen.
Well, he
So,
blocked 41 goals or 40
yes, it's
goals. I mean,
insane.
in a game, that's
Yeah.
insane, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
I'll tell you, this has a special significance for me because, I remember I was a little kid when, the last time they won
same.
and
Yep.
barely,
In 1980. It's been
yeah,
since 1980 since the US men's have won at hockey.
right. So I actually got a chance to play in that 1980 rink, and we were, our team, we were New York State championship, was held at the 1980 in 1932 rink. Both of them are in the same complex, and I got to play in both of those, which was
That's
just
amazing.
absolute honor. We were in the locker room that those same guys were in.
Herb
It's
Brooks
just, yeah, Herbie and
from
and
Minnesota, a lot of guys from
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, Boston and
Played by
Minnesota,
Kurt Russell in the movie.
so good.
Miracle on Ice, yeah.
Yep. And so it has a huge significance because that's the last time that they won. And I mean, that's just an amazing accomplishment. Especially, this is David and Goliath, really. I mean, the US team is no slouch, let's be real, but
Oh, yeah.
that Canadian team, man, I tell you what, 9 out of 10 times they're probably winning.
Oh, yeah.
They just didn't win when it counted this time around. So
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, that
Yep.
was amazing. And talk about great expectations. I don't know that anybody had the expectations.
No.
Were
A long
for
shot.
the
It was a long shot, so to speak.
yeah.
No pun intended. That was a long shot, and,
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved every minute of it, and I'm so excited. The women's team is incredible.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
All 4 teams that ended up playing for gold, the Canadian women's and Canadian men's and the
Yeah.
US women's and the US men's, fantastic, and I'm
Oh,
so
yes.
happy the
Yeah.
US won.
Mhm.
I don't know if you guys know Rob Curvin from Chicago. He's another advisor. He's from Canada originally, huge hockey fan,
Mhm.
big Canadian hockey fan. So
Yeah.
the first thing I did when the US men's team won is I sent him a text with showing the picture of bloody mouth, Jack
Yeah.
Jack
So
Hughes
Jack Hughes is the best. That's
missing 2 teeth that
yeah,
got knocked out
amazing.
during the game,
Yep.
blood on his mouth, American flag over his shoulder going
So
like this,
amazing.
and
Yeah.
I just typed him, "Yay, go USA,"
It's
after
so
the
good.
victory and texted it.
No
About an
response.
hour later, thumbs down. Haven't heard from him since.
Well, John Fleming also from Canada originally.
Yeah.
Big
Yeah.
Winnipeg Jets fan.
Yeah, I text him as well. You
Yeah.
gotta rub it in. If you know if you have a Canadian friend, you gotta
Right.
this is our opportunity. When do we get this chance?
I love Montreal Canadiens, but make no mistake,
You
I'm
do.
all American.
Yeah,
And
what's that hat you're wearing right now
it
there,
is the
buddy?
Habs hat. They're still in second place. I'm cautiously optimistic about their chances this year. And I mean, they're probably not gonna win the cup, but if they go deep, I'm pretty happy. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and
Well,
now that
hey.
we turn this into a hockey show.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah, 9 minutes of hockey.
Yes,
Jennifer,
yes.
you've been pretty quiet over there.
I have.
What about what about expecting too much or too
Mhm.
little when it
Yes.
comes to
From your husband.
when it comes to your physical what about the danger of
my
expecting
gosh.
too much or too little from your husband, Jeff?
Oh, we shouldn't go there.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Yeah, we
I
should.
don't think that.
So what about our physical health?
Yeah.
Our health and our physical workouts, our exercising. It seems like you've probably seen both ends of
I
that
have.
spectrum, right? And
Oh,
what's the
yeah.
danger there?
Well, let's start with that person that walks in with super high expectations. And a lot of times they're coming off of, let's say they did like an Atkins diet or the carnivore diet or the keto diet. There's so many of them and they got great results. And then they're right back to where they started because they can't sustain it.
Right.
So a
That's
lot
the
of these
problem.
expectations are formed from following these rigorous, strict diets that work for the short term. And then they produce this idea that you can achieve these amazing results, but the lie is that those results are attainable, but they can't sustain. You can't sustain that.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
And the person, I think the one that I deal with is the hardest is that they truly believe it's reasonable to restrict and to, go in, 100%, throw caution to the wind, and they believe that that's sustainable. So I have to figure out, I love drive and ambition, but I have to figure out ambition without realism leads to burnout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to exercise 4 hours every day, 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours after work, Monday through Friday, and I'm going to lose 50 pounds in the next month. And I'm going to completely stop drinking, smoking,
Yeah.
eating anything that's bad for me, and I'm going to do it all today.
Yeah.
And that's not that would be what I would call great expectations, but a recipe for disaster,
For
right?
sure.
Well, that's where I step in and, my job is not to crush their goals per se.
Right.
But I do have to protect them from their own timeline,
Right.
Mhm.
And if someone says, "Hey, Jennifer, I want like for your example, I want to lose 50 pounds in whatever, let's just say 4 months." I don't say flat out no, right? I will say, "Well, let's talk about what sustainable fat loss actually looks like."
Yeah.
And then I educate as a dietitian, no more than 2 pounds a week. And even that is going to be hard to maintain.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But with the 2 pounds a week rate, it is sustainable because you're not going so aggressive that as you lose weight, you won't be able to keep up,
Right.
with
There's
that
this
level.
there's this, I just got done doing a lot of work studying to become certified to scuba dive, right? And there's this term or there's this what's the term I'm looking for? There's this phenomenon, right? That you go deeper than what you're supposed to do and you have success and you go into some places that you shouldn't go and have some success. You don't have any, repercussions. It gives you this false sense that you can continue to do those
A
things, right?
false sense of
Yeah.
security.
And
It's
then
how they hook you in Vegas, right?
right. And then
You
you
go
end
to
up
Vegas, everyone loses, and you win a jackpot right away.
Mhm.
Then
Yeah.
you end up gambling the nest egg away.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right. You're mortgaging your house.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the thing, right? Is that's the danger of these quick scenarios. They're the worst thing that could happen is somebody has success with them, because then there's this whole false sense and then you have to really reboot all over from that time point,
Yeah.
right, babe? I mean how many times, I had to unlearn so many poor behaviors with food, but once I got it I understood. So maybe we can talk about that too. I mean, my circumstance was similar. I mean, I tried it
Yeah.
every dang thing there was under the sun that sounded remotely scientific or
Mhm.
had some validity to it on
Mhm.
some level, right?
Mhm. Yeah, I had a client tell me recently, they said, "Jennifer, I'm good with being told I can't eat anything except for this list. Like, I can follow that.
Hmm.
But when I'm telling them I want them to eat a balanced diet that includes variety, that is very difficult because they feel like there's no guidelines when I say that, right?
Yeah.
So I call it structured flexibility. Like you need to be able to have some sort of structure in place to keep you aware, whether that's food logging or whether that's, figuring out your macros, however that is, making sure your plate is visually appealing with fruits and vegetables and proteins and whole grains. But with no guidelines, if I'm just saying, hey, I want you to eat a balanced diet, all of the reins come loose and there's no self-control. So there's this middle ground that I try to coach that can be sustainable, but it's that relationship that they have with food. It's the psychological part.
Right.
Because people are like, well, it must be willpower. It's not necessarily willpower. It's having a plan and it's putting it in place. I have a client who has small children, and so he's around fast food all the time. His family is constantly having pizza and, things at home. And he's like, I know that I shouldn't be eating these things and I'm not even hungry, but they're in my peripheral and I'm seeing it everywhere. And it's really hard for me to not pick it up and eat it. And I'm like, okay, well, let's put yourself in that situation before you even walk into the house. Can you have a plan? Before you feel tempted, the prerequisite is that I need you to eat a fiber source, a protein source, and 8 ounces of water. If you do those 3 things and you still want those foods, then let's talk next time. So, just little things like that where you're not saying no, 100%, I can't eat it. But if I choose to eat it, it's going to be a conscious decision. It's not going to be something that I feel uncontrolled reaction to.
Right. Well, I think what you're coaching is awareness and understanding of the situation. Right. So, I mean, I think, the way that it really allowed me to adhere to the whole concept was the fact that, I knew how I felt after I ate those types of foods. And I knew that it wasn't going towards any benefit at all, to what my primary goals were. And it's such a temporary feeling, what I mean? It's so temporary that it is, it's just like drinking in excess. You wake up the next day and you go, geez, that wasn't even remotely worth it. That's a terrible feeling. I did have a friend, Drew, who said, I feel sorry for people who wake up without a hangover. And he said, because that's the best they're going to feel all day.
Oh my God.
I was like, bro.
That's a bad joke.
That is terrible.
I was like, man, really reassess those goals.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Realign those goals. Yeah, that's those are poor expectations. There's great expectations and then there's poor expectations.
What about in fitness, PT, physical training? How does this sort of translate to that?
You mean the one that expects too little?
Either. I mean, how do you see that for training, not just in nutrition?
Yeah. Well, if I see someone, like if I don't temper expectations, 2 things might happen. They're going to push too hard and injure themselves, or they're going to quit when reality doesn't match their fantasy. And so either way, it's going to be futile. So you really do need a professional to look you in the eye and say, I hear you. And I understand that's what you've been fed through social media or previous diets, but that's not the way I'm going to work with you. And if you're willing to go on this journey that's sustainable, that you can sustain for the rest of your life, let's do this. If you want something that is extreme and not sustainable, I'm not your girl. And I just tell them that. And that way there's no misunderstanding of the goal, and that's, I'm all about longevity.
Well, that's wisdom.
Yeah.
I think the thing is, there is no silver bullet. I mean, obviously, if you have genetics that are perfect and you can eat whatever you want, whenever you want, and it doesn't impact your blood profile and you don't gain weight, that's called a unicorn. That doesn't happen.
Right.
But I mean, I think the thing is that, we could save people so much time and so much effort, so much angst, and just stop with the nonsense. Those things are worthless. They never work. Or if they do, it's temporary. And then you gotta go back and fix all of those mistakes that you did, and it's just a time waster. And I can tell you, as someone who's done it, don't just stop the craziness and do the right thing and make it a lifestyle.
It is scary for people though, because I'm dealing with a couple clients right now who are like, Jennifer, I believe you, but I'm having a hard time following this,
Right.
And I'm like, look, this doesn't have to be on my timeline. If you're just trusting me in the process, that's all I ask.
But why is it that it's so hard? What's the block?
That they've had so much success on strict, extreme diets, but they're right back to where they were before it. And so that's why I try to tell them, like, okay, that was successful, but then what? Why are you working with me now?
Right.
Remember that cycle, and it is vicious, and it never ends.
Right.
Until you embrace small, gradual progress.
Right.
And it's not fancy, and it's not, these people, it's not bright and shiny, but it works.
Well, it took me months and months and months to break through to real change.
Yeah.
But consistency is the key, and doing things the right way continually that you can sustain is the way to do it. I mean, this happens to me in finances too, right? So you have when people, I'm the same as you. When people come to me and they say, my expectation is like 15% returns, 0 volatility. I'm not your guy. I'm not going to chase returns. And the thing is, when the market is going up, everybody has ice water in their veins. You know what I mean? They're just like, I want in. The minute volatility hits, and it's automatically, oh, let's sell, let's get out of this. I want to go to somewhere safe. And that is being so emotional, like what you would do with food, one way or the other. And then you're a yo-yo for the system. You're going to be, we call that dumb money. When people buy at the top of the market, we call that dumb money. I mean, I'm not saying people are dumb. I'm just saying that's the term. It's called dumb money. And it's when people are going to contribute before it pulls back. And then when it pulls back, they sell. And so they've lost a bunch of money and they've wasted everybody's time. And at that point, they are burned from the idea of actually, getting a decent return over time in the market. So it's just a, like you said, it's a vicious cycle. It's the same thing. It's just unmet expectations. When the reality is that if you plan, you outplan your return, and you fund the things that you need to fund and stop trying to, get some back door, scenario where you're better than everybody else somehow, that you figured it out. You didn't. It's not going to work that way. There's a consistent way of doing things, that actually work over time. And some people do it on accident. They just are able to save and not pay attention. They just don't look, and then they just throw money at it and throw money at it and throw money at it. And they look up and geez, they got enough to, they need rearranging and, structure, but there's things you can do. And that is stop worrying so much about what it is that you're doing, as long as you're getting some decent advice and you're making, doing stuff consistently.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think that obviously setting realistic goals, I mean, and people, when it comes to finance, people do this with the market. They don't have realistic goals on what their returns will be or can be or should be. They let emotions dictate with their physical well-being or their financial well-being. And if you let them too much emotion into it, it affects the expectations, and it makes you not be realistic, and that can really derail your plans and goals.
Have you ever seen First Time Flippers? Have you ever seen that?
No.
It's a show.
About flipping houses.
Yeah, it's like people for the first time they like have this idea that they want to start making money.
Oh yeah, everybody thinks they're going to make a ton of money by buying a house. Yeah,
they read something that real estate's the only way to make money, and so they're like, they take their life savings
and buy a house, and then they put like 5 times the amount of money into it and never finish it. They can't sell it. Yeah,
disastrous.
Yeah.
That's the other thing that I want to talk about is kind of staying in your lane too on that. I mean, that's the thing. Like if you're brand new, you to certain things, there's a cost of admission. There's a tuition cost.
A cost to entrance. There's a price to pay.
There is.
The entrance price. Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean,
you can't just go to the gym and have the same workout that a marathon runner who's run 10, 20 marathons has. Right.
Exactly.
No. Well, and if we're talking about the client that expects too little, right? They walk in the door and they're already defeated.
Yeah.
They might, I hear this like, my metabolism is just broken.
My metabolism is broken. I've never used that. I'm going to write that down. I've never thought of that excuse. My metabolism is broken. That's a good excuse.
Hysterical.
Or whatever, right?
Never thought of that one.
A lot of them.
Sorry, Doc, my metabolism is broken. Tony, we talked about all the things you should be doing, my dietitian, and I'm like, she broke.
It will not buff out.
Yeah. Hey, we're going to wrap it up, but hey, before we go, March 3rd is this coming Tuesday. We're recording this on a Friday, but Tuesday we're not going to do a show between now and then. And March 3rd is my birthday.
Oh.
I will be 60. So this is a big one. This is a big one. Mm-hmm. And I was told there would be cake. So I don't know. I don't know what happened there, Jeff, but I was kind of relying on you.
Is Benny Vitale's yeah, I mean, there's no bigger slice of pizza.
You can't even fit it out the door.
It does not fit through a standard door. It is a massive pizza.
It is.
And
man, that's the kind of pie I want. Look at this. We're doing the birthday dance.
Yes,
is what we're doing. Yeah, we're gonna do the birthday dance. See,
that's great.
Yeah,
you maybe do the in a Zumba class. Is this a Zumba class?
I love it.
Yes, you need to enjoy that. Are you?
Yeah. No. Well, and we'll see on next week's show that we record next Friday. I'll let you know if I feel any older.
All right.
Do I look 60 to you?
You do not.
Do I seem 60?
No.
I think it's my immaturity. It throws people off.
I do
too. I totally agree.
I agree.
I think it's important.
Right. All right. Before we go, let our listeners and viewers out there know how they can get a hold of you.
So visit our website at fitnessfinancepro.com. And then from there, you can select to book a free discovery call with Jeff or myself or both of us.
Yeah, get a discount if you type in "stop the fadness."
Oh.
Stop the fadness.
There you go.
Stop chasing returns and stop chasing the fads.
No gimmicks.
No gimmicks.
Yeah. Realistic expectations. No gimmicks. Let's do it right. Have a plan. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So it's fitnessfinancepro.com. Check it out. I know you guys love to hear from our listeners and viewers out there. I encourage them to listen to the episode, and contact you through fitnessfinancepro.com. And that does it for today's episode of Fitness and Finance Radio with our hosts, Jennifer Scherer and Jeff Smith.